Is my divorce an uncontested divorce? In Florida, you might have heard the different types of divorces, of one being uncontested and one being contested. So what does that mean? A contested divorce is where you and the other side do not agree. It's where you might need a judge to make the decision for you. And in a contested case, sometimes you might settle along the way. That happens in a lot of contested cases where they maybe go to a mediation and they'll settle at that point all the way up until the trial. But in these contested cases, they've been filed, you're proceeding along within the case, and you're proceeding forward towards a judge making that final decision if the judge needs to. And that's if you can't come to an agreement somewhere along the way. Now, what is the difference with an uncontested divorce? An uncontested divorce is before you've even filed, you are moving towards settlement. You are moving towards a resolution of your case before you've even filed it. Or in some situations, shortly after you filed the case, sometimes people will want to file in order to get a line drawn in the sand. Because as I've said before in a number of other videos that I've done, and check out our channel if you have any other questions. And in a lot of my other videos on this channel, I've said that the court looks at the valuation and looks at a lot of different issues in the divorce as from the date you get married until the date you file for divorce. So the day you say I do versus the day you say I don't. So sometimes people want to draw a line in the sand and file the case. The actual filing of the case doesn't always necessarily make it completely uncontested. Sometimes people will want to file and then still will be moving towards a resolution because they're on the same page. What is an uncontested divorce? It's where you and the other side agree on all of the issues. You've come to the table and said, all right, here's what we're going to do if you have kids on custody and child support. There's an agreement on alimony. There's agreement on the division of assets and liabilities. So you've agreed on all of the different issues and you provide it to the attorney so the attorney can create an agreement and make sure that it's legally sufficient and that your rights are protected in that agreement. So that's the benefit of having an attorney deal with an uncontested divorce as well. Now, there's a lot of uncontested divorce situations where there's no kids or assets or anything that maybe them doing it themselves might be the preferred process. But if you have children, if you have assets, you want to make sure that you're doing all of this correctly. So that's usually why people would want to still have an attorney prepare the paperwork for that one person. Because again, as a Florida attorney, we can only represent one side. So even in an uncontested divorce, we only represent one of the parties, but we prepare the settlement packet and prepare all the different forms for our client, and we'll send it over to the other side for signature. What's the benefit of uncontested divorce? It's less time consuming, it's less costly, and it gets you to the finish line.